We always celebrate many heroes of our country, whether in sports, the arts, or even political heroes who have left this world. While this is a great exercise to help in shaping the society's character and develop future leaders in those sectors, we have been neglecting heroes who have walked among us. It has always troubled me how we have always celebrated people who have never met us. But once we lay our beloved ones to rest, we forget them and the impact they have had on us and the lessons they have left us. This lecture series is my way of correcting that. Hello, it gives me pleasure to do this second lecture of Impact Lecture Series. And today we are paying tribute to a young girl I knew. Her name was Mapule Moropa. In 1994, I was a first-year student at the University of the North Qwaqwa campus, which is now called the University of the Free State. I stayed in a room in Naledi at the shop of Baba Ntombela, where I was staying temporarily while trying to sort out my accommodation. To get to campus, I'd take two taxis, one from Naledi to Setsing, which was a shopping complex, and one from Setsing to the campus, Uniqua. One morning on the 11th of May that year, 1994, it was a Wednesday, I left my place to go to the university. When I got to Setsing, I went to the public phones, because there were no cell phones there, to call home as I did regularly. The purpose of the call was to remind them to send money. My father picked up the phone and we spoke a while. Before I hung up the phone, my dad went quiet for a while and said to me, "Sipho, I have very bad news." I didn't know what to expect when he said, "Mapule passed away." These words threw me into a mini trance of darkness, uncertainty, and confusion. Mapule passed away. As if that was the bomb he was about to tell me, what would totally paralyze me. I was expecting him to say, "I'm sending you money to come to the funeral." Instead, he said, "We couldn't tell you because you were writing exams. She was buried last week." Up to this day, I cannot think of a more debilitating piece of news I've ever had to deal with. It was a double blow. Mapule was very important to me. Around the years I knew her, much of the progress the world had made had not been made. There were no cell phones. Our relationships were built on solid grounds of trust and commitment. If you wanted to speak to someone on the phone, you had to queue at a public phone and call them in their home. Or sometimes you'd call the neighbors that they would call next door or him next door so that they come and answer the phone. When people wanted to communicate, they would use letters. These tools of communication demanded patience, as a letter took 2 weeks to reach its destination. If the person you are friends with didn't have a phone in their home, it was letters that helped you stay in touch. I raise this matter because My last communication with Mapule before I heard of her demise was through a letter she wrote to me when I was about to travel to Kwakwa for my studies. I remember very well, it was after a prayer meeting at Mafusini when she handed me the letter. Little did I know it would be our last interaction. Of course, in the letter, she was wishing me well, telling me how confident she is that I'm going to make it and come back and make a great life. Today, I pay tribute to her. I will not focus on interaction with her because it was long ago. Many memories have been muddled. I may not remember what we did, but I remember how she made me feel, how she made everyone who knew her feel. That will be my point of reference as I celebrate her life. I met Mapule through his brother Paul, Pastor Moropa, in one of the meetings of the Heavenly Youth Movement. When she started studying at the Springs Technical College, she fellowshiped with us at the Maranatha Church, and our home was her second home. Mapule was a people's person. She had a way of making everybody feel important. She had a ministry of care, demonstrated in how she was always drawing people to Christ. Conversations around her would end up inviting you to a church service or any event linked to Christ. I can recall a passion of hers in action. In one of our revivals in Delmas, we had a session where we went throughout the township in pairs or small groups to preach to individuals and homes and invite them to the evening service. This was a service she was excited about. We would have conversations with her, and she told me about a sister she has who wants nothing to do with church. She was concerned as she wanted everyone she knows to know Jesus Christ. When the revival went to Delmas and we went on these evangelistic sessions, she asked that we go to see a sister at her home so that I could talk to her. We went and I met her sister, Tsilane, conversed with her and discussed life and the Christ question. Later, this sister, who had also since passed on, accepted Christ and became an active member of the Heavenly Youth. Fruits of a loving sister who prayed for her continuously and exposed her to people who could make this thing make sense to her. And I think even today, the best thing you could do for your friend is to give them space and an opportunity to be presented with the gospel. Mapule was a fisher of men. If you had people who knew about her speak, she was a best friend to each of them. She could make all of them feel equally loved without reducing the love that she gave. Even though it has been over 25 years, a thought of her elicits feelings of warmth, care, and the love of God. She was a personification of the theme song that we heard in the Heavenly Youth, which was, "We are a youth filled with laughter, showing laughter, a holy youth redeemed of the Lord." She was a bubbly personality filled with laughter and showing laughter. There's a song that she used to lead in our choir, "The Glory of Jesus." She loved that song. And as you listen to the lyrics, it makes sense that a passion for God was drawn from a very deep place. In the words of the song, "Lord, we desire your presence always. Lord, keep us holy always. Shine your light on us always, and bring us closer and closer so we can see your glory." She lived a life of pursuing the glory of Jesus, seeking to please him. That is my experience with her, which is what I remember. When I look at the youth of today, I yearn for the multiplication of Mapules. 3 qualities stand out that I wish young people would emulate her. Firstly, the love of God. A love of God refers to one's understanding that the ultimate purpose of humans on earth is to glorify God. Once that becomes your standing point, you will not prioritize your desires over what pleases God. You will be hurt by what hurts God. The preoccupation with self today is a sad sin to behold. Young girls are competing for Instagram fame, competing on the price of the hair on their heads, rather than the content in their heads. Mapule's life was lived in the fear of God. The second one is loving people. She loved people, and she expressed that through a service. When we had gatherings, she would be up and about, ensuring that people are okay, they've eaten, they have places to sleep. Her leadership qualities were without question. You could never lead or serve people you don't love. Perhaps the death of leaders, the lack of leaders today among the youth can be traced on the fact that self-love has taken over in this generation. The fact that she was concerned about others' spiritual health and was ever available to draw them to serve God shows this love for people and leadership. May Mapule's spirit live long and her legacy continue to birth others like her. Her life is one of the reasons I founded the Ntombazana seminars, where we build capacity of young girls for leadership and develop their appetite for greatness. I must say, I've been honored in my life to have met this wonderful lady, lived with her, shared with her, and when we lost her, we really lost a leader in our country. Long live Mapule, long live.